Thank you so much for joining us. Define disruption. What does it mean to you?
A disruption is a wholesale change in the way some business is done, which can offer not an incremental improvement to the consumer or the learner or the human, but offers a order of magnitude improvement in a level of service or lowering of cost.
What are the kind of leadership challenges that disruption poses?
So as a leader, if you are in an industry where you are causing the disruption, you have to be very careful in terms of how you bring the incumbents along with you. Because you can be disruptive and you can break a lot of glass, but nobody will be following you. So as a leader who's causing the disruption, you have to really find a way to bring everybody along with you. If you are in an industry that is being disrupted, then I like to say that if a tsunami is about to hit you, then it's much better if you're riding the wave and you're part of the tsunami than if you're going to get crushed. So I think as a leader, what's most important is to stay current, stay innovative, and if a disruption is going to be happening, then you want to be the disruptor, not the one who's going to get crushed by the tsunami.
As a leader, can you give us one or two specific examples of how you would have perhaps handled, say, a disruptive wave or force?
So let me give you my own example. I'm the CEO of edX. edX is an online learning destination founded by Harvard and MIT. We're a nonprofit. We are completely disrupting the world of education. And education is not going to be the same again. We are bringing technology to education and creating a model where we could offer education at virtually zero marginal cost. So just imagine virtually zero marginal cost education. So if you're an existing educational institution, you now need to think about how do I bring this technology into my institution. So what we do is we work with educational institutions and show them a path from where they are today to the future. And we create blended models where you blend the new and the old. So the beauty of that is we're helping people, existing universities and our partners, have an on-ramp from where they are today to the disrupted world. So I think the success we are seeing is by creating on-ramps where people can find a graceful path to a disrupted world as opposed to getting hit and getting clobbered by disruption.
So does technology drive digital or is it vice versa?
So to me, in today's day and age, technology is digital. Digital is technology. It's one and the same thing, where I myself grew up with analog electronics, but today everything is digital. And digital and technology are disrupting everything known to mankind. In our own field of education, with edX.org, we are able to offer free online learning to millions of people around the world at virtually zero marginal cost. And digital, which involves video distribution, involves cloud computing, involves social networking, gaming, all of these things brought to education is completely transforming how education is done. And this is the power of digital.
How important is it to have a plan for your digital strategy? And how relevant will the plan be?
If you're a leader of a company, you absolutely have to be thinking digital. Whether you are a leader of a company, a leader of a university, or for that matter, Prime Minister of India. And Modi has a really great slogan, Digital India. So I think everybody should be thinking about new technologies. It's like in the 1800s when everybody went around with horse carriages and the automobile engine was just coming up. The automobile changed everything. Nothing was the same ever again. And so everybody was impacted by the automobile, transportation, communication, food, everything. And so in the middle 1800s, those that recognized the automobile for a disruptive force and embraced it became very successful in the next century. Similarly, digital is completely transforming everything as we know it. Healthcare, communications, and based on what we are doing, education as well. So everything is being disrupted. So everybody has to be looking at it very carefully and coming up with a plan of how they're going to adopt digital to transform their own way of doing business.
How easy will it be then to follow a plan that you would have made today, but which might just see the external environment change, say, a month later?
So the beauty of plans is if you create a plan and then you follow it, they're saying in Hindi, lakir ka fakir, you draw a line and then you kind of follow that line. That doesn't work too well in a world that is changing completely. So when you make a plan, you have to build a plan where you are cognizant of change. So as change is hitting you, your plan needs to embrace the change. And so it is possible to build plans. It's almost like when you build software, there are lean and agile methodologies that build a plan for building software that are agile, that are lean, that follow change as it goes along. Similarly, corporations can create processes for innovating and build a plan where you're iterating on something. So I think the key word in the digital world, with the innovative world, is iteration. Not to build a plan and stick to it, but rather build a plan where you have cycles of iteration. So at every iterative step, you can see what's succeeded and what's not, and then go to the next step.
So far, technology has provided solutions to known problems or known needs. How does one use technology to actually identify and perhaps even find solutions for unknown problems and unknown needs?
So the beauty of digital and beauty of technology today is not only is it helping you solve existing problems, but it's creating new opportunities. So I don't like to think of it as how do you solve new problems. I'd like to think of it as how do you grab new opportunities. And I like to say that if it's raining diamonds, you won't get any unless you're holding your hands out to catch them. So the trick in this model of in the digital world is you have to have the equivalent of holding your hands out. So if it rains diamonds, you're going to catch them. Similarly here, you have to embrace digital technology, and you have to be willing to accept innovation and transform your own organization based on innovation. And if you do that, then you're likely to be able to grab the opportunities as they come. So the trick is to be prepared for opportunity. You can't tell when it's going to hit you, but when it hits you, if you're prepared, you're going to grab it.
What do you think will change in 2016, in the context of digital as far as the education sector is concerned?
So MOOCs, or massive open online courses, are a huge disruptive force in education. Maybe a better word is transformative force, because it's going to improve. Disruption could make it worse, but it's a transformative force in education. And edX is a leading MOOC provider. We have 7 million students and close to 1 million in India alone. Online learning and MOOCs will completely revolutionize how education is done in universities. It will never be the same again. So today we go to a classroom filled with 100, 200, 300 students, and it's really boring sitting there for an hour. With online learning, we can bring in video, gamification, instant feedback, active learning to the classroom. In fact, you won't have a classroom anymore. You'll have small discussion groups where people are walking around and forming small groups. The classroom will be replaced by small social hangouts or social spaces. Education won't be the same again. And universities that adopt the online model and combine it with in-person to create the blended learning model will succeed. So I think the future of education is blended.
Okay, so you're saying in 2016 we will see significant changes in the way the education sector functions?
We're already seeing significant changes at leading innovative universities. At MIT, for example, in the space of 4 years, 90% of the undergraduates have used edX in their campus classes. So some of the leading universities in the world, MIT is the world QS #1 ranked university, 90% of the students have used edX and online in their campus. Other universities are less so. MIT is one of the leaders, but certainly in the bleeding edge universities, we're seeing rapid adoption of this. And a lot of the others are likely to follow very soon.
All right, Mr. Anant, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.